I'm Mayor Watt. That's the daily news show's information source. That's ohmTown.com. Go over there, sign up, become a citizen of ohmTown. That would be wonderful. You can also follow me here on Twitch. If you're in my chat, thanks for coming. If you are downloading the podcast right now, I still haven't re-uploaded everything to the website, but I'll be uploading everything shortly. Got a lot on my plate lately. But YouTube is chock-a-block full of past episodes that are around 14 days or older. Actually, I think I'm caught up now. I haven't looked. I've been updating like in mass. So with that all said and done, the way that this works is I've got this news aggregator that I put together to filter a bunch of sources of information into categories that I like, and I made it public for everybody else. And with it, I put together a daily news show. I also intend to launch 49 other shows. So if you're interested in being a host or co-host, feel free to get in touch with me. All of this news gets funneled into 6 main categories: create, news, education, entertainment, social, and technology. And then there are the shows that are underneath those categories. And I refer to them as channels. They will eventually be here on Twitch, streaming under the ohmTown umbrella. All that said, let's get into the day's news. Got about 20 articles like I normally do. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It really depends on how many I found interesting, and I don't actually count them out. So the very first article is in the Four Wheel Tech channel, which is all about vehicles, tech-centric stuff, by the way. So, I'm not going to be talking about tires unless there's a tech-centric element within it. And in this particular case, it's very tech heavy because this is about the automaker Rivian announced yesterday that it's raising its prices for its R1T truck and the R1S SUV, and that the new prices would apply to nearly all pre-orders, which is kind of rough. So the article actually says, the title is Rivian Surprises Outrages EV Truck Buyers with a 20% price hike. The truck that starts at $67,500 before any eligible tax credits, and the SUV starts at $70,000, and at those prices the vehicle comes equipped with a quad motor drivetrain, large pack battery that would provide about 315 miles of range. Now, to get the same vehicle, you'll have to pay just shy of $80,000 or $85,000. So that's an increase of 17 and 20%. That's quite the markup. Tim Deschamps is the author of the article over at Ars Technica. And that's pretty much all that is needed to know about this article, although you can find out more about it if you go over to the Ars Technica site, which I encourage you to do. I don't want you to just stop here. There's absolutely no reason to. We're always a click away, right? That's the power of the internet. So there is the link. You can click it and go over to ohmTown. Click the link there, and you'll be taken to Ars Technica. That said, I've disabled the caching on the website, so it might be slow. And I'm working out some of the other issues that I've been finding, like duplicate headlines. That's because the crawler is finding stuff that gets modified, and so it's creating a clone of it. Not sure exactly what's going on. Trying to solve it. Headache for me, maybe a headache for you, but either way, go check out ohmTown. Let me know what you think of the site. So do you have $85,000 to pay for an SUV? I don't know. I'm still waiting for my canoe. The next article is over at the Law Nerd channel. It's basically a channel about law, somewhat of a deep dive, try to get nerdy in it, focusing on tech. We'll see if I can find somebody that's interested in being the host or co-host, preferably the host that is in law. That would be great. So it says here, former Chapman Law professor who wrote coup memo faces ethics probe, state bar confirms. So the State Bar of California announced on Tuesday that retired Chapman University law professor John Eastman is being investigated for possible ethics violation in connection with he used resources from the institution. Arguably, it's not necessarily. It says violations in connection with his conduct following and in relation to the November 2020 presidential election. But some of this I have heard through other channels, through other processes, through basically the rumor mill. And it says, dubbed the coup memo by detractors, Eastman's document advised Pence on several scenarios in which he could give then President Donald Trump an election win. Pence could refuse to count electors in several states. He could throw the election to the House of Representatives, or he could hold up the vote count pending investigation of vote fraud claims. For the last 10 years, I've actually been using this kind of thing in a discussion that I have with groups of people. And I ask them what is something that could disrupt society in the United States, because that's where I am. And a lot of people say, taking out the power grid or disrupting water or hacking cars or something. There's always something, but nobody does anything in regards to this existential crisis. And that would be the trust in the electoral system. And sure enough, less than a decade later, actually, this comes up. So impugning the integrity of the election really hobbles the democratic process. And here we are in 2022, still belaboring this point. With all efforts to prove that there was election fraud thrown out the window, except for ones where people who have said that they are Republican have voted illegally, like a person whose deceased wife voted, and they claimed that it was somebody else that did it, and it turned out that it was actually the husband of the deceased wife that voted on her behalf, and then claimed that it was a Democratic thing, not him. So a real shame, but this is a social thing that happens when people feel like they're at their last wits. They lash out at any opportunity. The next article is in the Order of the Brew. It's a channel about beer. And in this particular case, it's about 5 Belgian style beers that you can brew at home. And it says, channel your inner Trappist monk. And it tells you about these beers, but I'm going to click the link and take you over there so that you can see that it's homebrewersassociation.org. And even you who have never brewed beer at home, let's say, even you can brew beer at home. It's actually pretty simple. The biggest issue that you might have, there's a couple of them. The bigger of the two issues is that you can get contaminated beer, but all you have to do is sterilize, and it's not as hard as you think. Maybe you don't think it's hard at all, but usually people think that it's really difficult to sterilize something, and it's not. You throw some Star San in your whatever it is you're using, and that'll sanitize it as long as you use enough, and then you dump it out. You'll be fine. But this has the recipes, and you can go and check them out over at Homebrewers Association. I don't have an author for this article, so I'm going to assume that it is the staff of the homebrewersassociation.org website. But let's keep on trucking through this. The next article is in the Order of the Grape, which is all about wine. In the luxury wine market, a bottle's price tag reflects its rarity. And a few other things, basically provenance. Is it a quality wine? But its price tag is usually commensurate with its demand. And they have a list. It says, these are the 25 most expensive American wines. And it goes down the list, and I cut it off. It really should be cut off quicker than that. But this is over at vinepair.com. The author is Lee Goldstein, and they always have this big, bold graphic. And the illustrator for this one is Ariella Besson, I think it is. It might be Basson. At any rate, they go into detail about the various wines that are the most expensive, starting at about $659 for the lowest priced bottle in the list, and going up to $6,189. And these are actually bottles that are approachable. From here on, it actually gets wildly more expensive. And you can actually click on a link for each one of these over at vinepair.com and maybe get it yourself. But those links will lead you to something that will talk more about them. Let me throw that link in chat. So the next article is in the Mobile Channel, and it's New York City looks to add raised crosswalks to make intersections safer. City officials want to install 100 raised crosswalks every year as part of a larger effort to redesign dangerous intersections. And if you've never been to New York, you largely take your life into your own hands when you're crossing. It's not always that way, but the same thing happens in Los Angeles and in San Diego and DC and pretty much any high population, fast moving, fast flowing traffic. So you just got to be aware. But this is an interesting New York Times article. Winnie Hu is the author of this. And if they raise it up, to me, it seems like it'll be very kind of futuristic. Like now there's going to be this layer that's a little bit higher than the rest of the city, where you can cross over, and maybe in the future, the walkways will actually be above the road entirely. And then maybe in the coming decades, we'll have flying cars that can travel at the level of the walkways. So they're going to have to make higher walkways. And then cars are going to be flying all over the place, right? Where you end up kind of a futuristic, dystopian style, cyberpunk kind of a world. I'm into cyberpunk, so I wouldn't mind it. But at any rate, I thought it was a really neat article. Title and little snippet that I read. It says, since Mr. Adams took office in January, another 37 people, including 20 pedestrians, have been killed in crashes as of February 27th, which is wild. Citywide, a total of 273 people, including 125 pedestrians, were killed in crashes last year, the highest number of traffic deaths since 2013. I don't think they have any pictures of what it would look like, but it says city officials are working to redesign 1,000 dangerous intersections this year and also plan to target problem spots like parking lots and gas stations where drivers cut across sidewalks, in addition to raising scores of crosswalks. Yeah, I think that would be great. Um, there's always different stakeholders and considerations, but maybe if we do it right, we'll save some lives. And it isn't the people that are walking that are costing these lives. They're crossing at crosswalks or walking on the sidewalks and a car jumps it or runs through. What do you think? What do you think about this? The next article is over in the Wanted channel, and that's all about tech that people want but not necessarily can afford it. This was grabbed because it's just tech centric, and I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention who might stumble across this. Google is recalling the Fitbit Ionic for causing burn injuries and is going to offer full refunds. It says Google's Fitbit brand is recalling 1.7 million smartwatches after dozens of reports of burns from the wearable fitness device. Apparently, the battery in the watch can overheat and burn the user's wrist. 174 reports with the battery overheating worldwide, 78 reports of burn injuries in the United States. 2 are third-degree burns and 4 are second-degree burns. Well, that's amazing. That's a $300 product. Maybe you paid $300 for it. Be prepared to bring your receipt, because I doubt that they'll pay you the full MSRP without proof. Let me copy and paste this into the chat. And if you have one, go and get it replaced. It's very... this article, by the way, is written by Ron Amadeo. Or it might be Amadeo. But this is a very futuristic looking watch. Sharp edges, square screen. It's kind of neat. The next article is in the Word in Tech channel. And there might be some Ukraine-Russia news today. This is all about Ukraine's nuclear power plants are at quote-unquote unprecedented risk as fighting continues. Yes, there is still fighting. It says 6 reactors generate 40 to 42 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, making the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant the largest in Ukraine. Russian officials told the IAEA that it has taken control of the territory around Zaporizhia. Zaporizhia. I am not pronouncing that correctly. I can almost guarantee it. And that the situation in Ukraine is unprecedented, and I continue to be gravely concerned, says the IAEA. That is a shame. As I've said before, Justine Kalma is the author of this article. And it says Ukraine has asked for immediate assistance to keep its nuclear facilities safe. And I'm not sure what else is going to be listed in here. In 1986, a reactor at Chernobyl exploded. If you've never heard of what happened at Chernobyl, you can do a Google search and find out. But basically, it blew its lid off and threw radiation all over the place. And they built a big old thing called a sarcophagus around it. And then they built another one recently. But it keeps on degrading, and so they keep patching it, and it will be radioactive for quite some time. Basically, some scientists are seeing kind of like the evolution of insects and other things that are absorbing the radiation and might be facilitating its return to normal. But there's so much radiation in what's called the elephant's foot that's inside the reactor. Basically a big blob of radioactive material that settled into the basement of the reactor, and it's probably going to be hot forever. We shall see. Ukraine ranks 3rd in the world when it comes to how much of its electricity comes from nuclear energy. The power comes from 15 reactors at 4 separate nuclear plants. So they've got 4 nuclear power plants. The next article is in the Mobile channel, and it's remote work doesn't have to be the mommy track, despite the hand-wringing of some commentary. So let's click this link. It's a very short snippet. It's an article over at the New York Times, written by Jessica Gross. As COVID rates drop precipitously around much of the country, some corporate executives and the Biden administration appear to be pushing toward a return to the office. Yeah, not so much, everybody. While most Americans can't work remotely in the first place, it says here about 60% according to Pew Research. Yeah, I suppose that's possible, but the remaining 40%. Now, I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll have to follow this link. Those who say they're happiest working from home are women and Black Americans, according to a recent Harris Poll survey. We'll have to look into that as well. But it's anecdotal when it's coming from me about my perception and my interaction with people in various industries. I don't know of anybody that wants to return to regular work other than for the social component of it. It's definitely not about getting work done faster. Then again, it's anecdotal. It's my perception and my interactions with people, my discussions with people. A lot of people actually want to remain at home because they don't have to drive anymore. They have all of the things that they need. They got food, they got shelter. They got their pets. They've got loved ones that might be at home. They can take a break and not have to go somewhere to get away from somebody. They can just kind of turn on the TV for 15 minutes. But this article says doesn't have to be the mommy track. Well, one of the sections in here says, some fear that as more people return to office, mothers in particular may be penalized because remote and flexible work arrangements will become associated with them, creating a lower tier of workers, quote unquote. You are mommy tracked to the billionth degree, end quote, as the workplace expert Bridget Schultz put it to Politico. Yeah, I don't see how that would actually. This is an equal opportunity problem. If you start talking with this type of deleterious statement, right, you are marginalizing the person for quote unquote being on the mommy track. There's a good chance that you're going to have a lawsuit. So I hope that this isn't something that's actually said in the workplace, because it will come out in a suit, I should say. Sample headlines and quotes from news organizations are a litany of pessimistic concern. Parents want to work from home for good, but for moms, the effects can be dire, etc., etc. So this article is quite long. And you can go over there to the New York Times. This is an opinion piece. And I should have made it a little bit more clear. It's a subscriber only newsletter called Jessica Gross on Parenting. And that's the author of the article, Jessica Gross, who's writing her opinion on this. The next article is in the Continuity Report. And this is about the Major League Baseball cancels the 2022 opening day amid labor dispute. I heard about this yesterday. There was some discussion about this, and talks basically broke down. And it says Major League Baseball has canceled the 2022 opening day and several early games during the regular season amid a labor dispute between players and the league. Opening day was originally scheduled for March 31st, but MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred announced on Tuesday that it would not be happening as originally planned. So let's click this link. This is Jordan Moreau writes this article for Variety, and like other things, it'll go into greater detail about it, but it says MLB players and owners have been at odds over how to divide up around $11 billion in annual revenue, and the deadline for a last-minute resolution came and went without an agreement. This is the first time in 27 years the league has had to cancel games over a labor dispute. $11 billion is a lot of money. And the entirety of it is built around the fact that the players play. So this is not going to be well received by anybody that's really diehard into the Major League Baseball. Yeah. If they're interested in MLB to any great degree, they're going to be livid about this. So solve the problem. Okay. So this next article is over in the Mobile channel, and it says Epic Games just bought Bandcamp for some reason. Epic Games, developer of popular video game Fortnite and game development tool Unreal Engine, have announced an acquisition of the online music marketplace Bandcamp, best known for letting artists have more control of selling music and merch to fans. The quote here is, "We share a vision of building the most open, artist-friendly ecosystem in the world, and together we'll be able to create even more opportunities for artists to be compensated fairly for their work," said Bandcamp founder and CEO Ethan Diamond at a press release today. So, yeah, Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. Microsoft is in the process of buying Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. Quite the difference. But Activision Blizzard is a massive, massive company with a lot of IP. Let's click this link. It's a Vice article written by Patrick Klebeck. And there's a little caption here that says, because fair and open platforms means everyone must be, at some point, acquired by a bigger company. Right. I've got a bunch of installers, so we will see if now Bandcamp comes with another installer. Or launcher, I should say, launcher. Epic Games, developer of the popular video game Fortnite and Unreal Engine, have bought Bandcamp. So what do you think? I have only used Bandcamp a very few number of times. Usually it's because someone that I am working with in some way is in a band or has somebody that they know that's in a band, and I'm interested in all kinds of music, so I typically buy the CD or DVD or whatever it is that they're producing, just to support them and to see if I like the music. So go over to vice.com and you'll be able to read more about Epic Games just bought Bandcamp for some reason. I guess they have the same ideology. They want to support an open platform. So the next article is in the Smack Talk channel. Cloudflare explains how iCloud Private Relay makes for fast, secure browsing. Apple partner and cloud company Cloudflare, there's a typo in their article, has shed additional details on Apple's iCloud Private Relay feature. Basically, what that means is Apple acquires all of the graphics and links you to the graphics, shows you the graphics, but it's a copy. That way, no telemetry is going to make it back to the people who have embedded the graphics. Explains the iCloud Private Relay is a system that ensures no single party handling user data has complete information on both who the user is and what they are trying to access. And I'm pretty sure Apple would. Your ISP would. Oops. I'm going to click this link and take you over to the article. I need to... Nope, it was posted. So Mike Peterson writes this article. Cloudflare explains how iCloud Private Relay makes for fast, secure browsing. And so Private Relay uses modern encryption and transport mechanisms to relay traffic from user devices through Apple and partner infrastructure before sending traffic to the destination website. So basically, it's kind of like a wonky VPN because it's encrypted, and so nobody actually sees everything that's going on. In other words, iCloud Private Relay is splitting the type of connection metadata that a single party can access. This minimizes how much information a third party can collect on user behavior and also prevents websites from seeing user IP addresses. So yeah, it kind of acts like a VPN, a virtual private network, but with encryption and through Apple. The next article is in the mobile channel. It's David Boggs, the co-inventor of Ethernet, dies at age 71. So the co-inventor of Ethernet died at 71, and everything that has transpired between the creation of Ethernet and so much wealth generation, technology, society, just so many amazing things have happened because of Ethernet, because of it having the ability to do networking, right? So it says, thanks to the invention he helped create in the 1970s, people can send email over an office network or through a website, or visit a website through a coffee shop hotspot. And it's all the co-inventor of Ethernet, David Boggs, in 2021, holding a device from the 1980s that connected computers to a network. So that's like a network card that he's holding. So I've run into quite a few people from Xerox, and they're all very smart, very capable. But it was a different time. And so as modernization has continued, not everyone, remains in this field of tech and business. So it says another researcher, another new hire named Bob Metcalf, was exploring ways of sending information to and from the lab's new computer, the Alto. And Mr. Boggs happened to just offer assistance, and ta-da, you end up with Ethernet. So go over to this article and give it a read. Cade Metz is the author of it, over at the New York Times. The next article is in the Word in Tech channel. Apple officially announces its March 8th event. I think it's referred to as peak performance. They could probably flip that and call it a performance peak. Not everybody, there's always rumors about what's going to be coming to an Apple event based on the rumors that are being spoken about. It says Apple will be holding its next event online on March 8th. The company announced today with an invite featuring the peak performance tagline and multicolored Apple logo. That could hint at the colors of new devices, and the company didn't disclose any further details, which they never do anyway. A new iPhone SE and iPad Air are rumored to appear. This is from Sheena Vasani is the author over at The Verge. So it's March 8th, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can always go over to theverge.com and read this article on your own. You can follow the link that's in chat. Let's see. Apple Gurman postulates could I additionally roll out the new iOS 15.4 update, making it possible to unlock Face ID equipped phones and iPads while wearing a mask. Pardon me one second. It's also rumored that another Mac with Apple design chips may arrive in March, but that won't be something that we're likely to see at this particular event, according to the author of this article. The next article, and I'm going to keep on trucking through this, is that oil touches $113 and stocks are jolted over uncertainty in Europe as we continue this watching of the Ukraine-Russian invasion, the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I had said that I think that he being Putin is going to direct the military to either take everything east of the river that runs from north to south of Ukraine, or take the whole country. That is one of the two scenarios. I'm not sure how well this is underway, if it's going to be completed like this, but there's a lot of talk about billions of dollars and how many days, 2 weeks is the intent based on intelligence that was gathered, apparently. We will see what happens with oil prices. But depending on where you are, prices are already $4 or more for a gallon. It's much more expensive in Europe, by the way. So our $4 a gallon here is like $12 for the equivalent in Europe. The rise of energy prices appeared to be tied to concerns about production limits and potential disruptions to Russian supplies. I always think that it's just a convenient reason to buy and sell ever increasing valuations until it gets to where people don't buy it back, and that bulk rate there, that level means a person, whoever it was that was the last one to make a profitable trade, they'll just stop. So it says the S&P gained 1.9%, recovering 2 days of losses. And that's between yesterday and today. So anytime that there is conflict somewhere, somebody will be able to make a profit off of that conflict. I have a hard time swallowing that pill, but I'm not spending I'm not generating millions of dollars day trading. So the next article is in Smack Talk. It says why Apple keeps buying companies and how it's used them for maximum impact. From Beats to Siri and firms you've never heard of, Apple keeps buying companies. Here's what impact that has had on Apple, how long it takes for an acquisition to make its mark with the new Apple feature, and what may be coming next. So let's click this link. William Gallagher over at appleinsider.com wrote this article. It has Apple One, which is like the UFO. Off the record, company owners have told Apple Insider how being bought by Apple, or even having Apple just offering to buy you, is an intense experience. Apple does not casually buy any firm. It does always get the very best deal possible, and it will always hide what it's bought if it can. Consequently, if you go to just buy what acquisitions Apple is obliged to report, you'll only see a fraction. Apple bought 6 firms in 2019, including Intel's smartphone modem business. That's interesting. So what do you think? Big companies that keep on purchasing smaller companies. This particular, the one that I'm interested in, it says AI Music, purchased in February of 2022. Not sure what impact it will have. But this article goes into greater details. It says acquisitions by the numbers as far as possible, why schedules can only be estimated. There's quite a bit for you to digest. So as a reader of all of this, I want you to go over to William Gallagher's article at Apple Insider. It's called Why Apple Keeps Buying Companies and How It's Used Them for Maximum Impact. Go check it out and let me know what you think of it. The next article is in the Word and Tech channel. Sennheiser's new in-ear monitors are all about the metal. Zirconium is a key part of the IE600 earbuds. And it says that the new earbuds are 3D printed with the same material used in the drill bits for the Mars rover. The IE600 earbuds have a shell that's composed of ZR01 amorphous zirconium, lending it to a unique aesthetic and remarkable durability. I'm going to click this link. It's over at The Verge, written by Alice Newcomb Beale. And it says that the IE600 features 3D printed zirconium shells. And if you look at it, it basically looks like a pitted aluminum kind of a thing. But it might be the manufacturing style, and then they leave it textured like that because it looks cool and it also doesn't require any major finishing. So it says, one might assume that using this uncommon material would somehow provide you with otherworldly sound quality, but that's not what Sennheiser seems to be pitching here. Rather, that it's the material's malleable nature and toughness that make it an exceptional choice for a lightweight and durable shell. And so they go into pictures in greater detail. It's $785 US or 700 euro. It's quite a pricey thing, although in the grand scheme, there is a spectrum from like $5 bud IEMs, which are in-ear monitors, all the way up to $5,000 plus in-ear monitors, which musicians, singers typically on stage use. Very high quality, zero latency, kind of true to your voice reproduction capabilities, with custom in-ear inserts. For someone who wants to listen to their heavy metal catalog through some light metal headphones, at $800, I'll pass. That said, Sennheiser has a really nice historical reproduction of music. Okay, the next article is 5 videos on beer sensory training. And I've always kind of thought that sometimes people lean into this a little too much, breaking down beer profile to its flavor, aroma, and appearance, understanding the various beer ingredients, identifying hallmarks of classic brewing practices and new frontiers, diagnosing off flavors and what might have caused them. These are all tools to help refine your beers and develop control over your home brewing process. So I'm going to click the link, take you over to the Home Brewers Association. Again, I don't know if there is an author for this. I don't see it. Let me scroll back up. But they have 5 videos on beer sensory training. And one is developing your palate to become a better brewer, sensory detectives, avoiding common off flavors, becoming a better beer judge, and using common sensory, organizing beer sensory experiences to improve your palate. Yeah, I just want a good beer, periodically. So what do you think? Are you going to go out there and become a beer tasting professional? We don't know. Let me know in chat. The next article is in the Word and Tech channel. Local nuclear reactor helps scientists catch and study neutrinos. A nuclear reactor at an Illinois energy plant is helping University of Chicago scientists learn how to catch and understand the tiny elusive particles known as neutrinos. Let's click this link and take a little gander at what's going on. At Constellation's Dresden Generating Station in Morris, Illinois, the team took the first measurements of neutrinos coming off the nuclear reactor with a tiny detector. The particles are extremely hard to catch because they interact so rarely with matter. But power reactors are one of the few places on Earth with a high concentration of them. This was an exciting opportunity to benefit from the enormous neutrino production from the reactor, but also a challenge in the noisy industrial environment right next to a reactor, said Professor Juan Koller, a particle physicist who led the research. So this article is going to go into greater detail. It talks about neutrinos and that they're referred to as ghost particles. But there is so much here that you might be interested in reading. I'll end up reading it sometime. Says the output of neutrinos changes according to what kind of fuel the reactor is burning and what it's producing. So detectors should be able to monitor for warning signs of weapons production or whether fuel is being secretly diverted elsewhere. But to make this goal a reality, such detectors would have to be small, robust, and easy to use. Koller said the Dresden work helps gather valuable data to make such detectors possible. Okay, so in the meantime, I want you to go over to phys.org. It's an article called Local Nuclear Reactor Helps Scientists Catch and Study Neutrinos. And it's by Luis Lerner. The next article, which is actually my final article for the night, is in the Law Nerd channel. It says law school recently dinged for bar passage rate comes into compliance. A Western New England University School of Law has demonstrated compliance with an ABA accreditation standard that requires a bar passage rate. It goes into greater detail in this article. Stephanie Francis Ward is the author. And it says it has to have a bar passage rate of at least 75% within 2 years, according to a notice posted on Monday. And they have apparently since then manipulated their processes so that it falls into compliance. It says for 2021, compliance with Standard 316 was based on the bar passage rates for 2018 graduates. According to ABA data, Western New England's ultimate bar passage rate was 64.79 compared to 75.26 for 2020, which was based on 2017 graduates. Sudha Sethi, Dean of Western New England University School of Law, told the ABA Journal that in an email that the law school's bar passage rate for 2020 is currently 77.1. Pardon me. My cough button works. And apparently they just fell into place. They fixed whatever concern there was. But there's an abajournal.com article that you can follow within this article. So go over there and give it a shot. So for today, I'm not sure. I did it really quick. I didn't really interact with anybody. Nobody's asking questions in chat. But if you have a question or a concern or a comment, feel free to throw it in chat. I'm actually going to end early for the day. It's not even 7 o'clock. I'm actually quite short from my time frame. So I've got some additional work that I need to do, and I will not be streaming tomorrow at 6 to 7. I haven't decided when I'm going to do it. I might do it an hour early, or I might push it past 8 o'clock, somewhere maybe between 9 or 10 or 11 p.m. tomorrow. I have a prior engagement And so I won't be able to stream. It'll be the first time and hopefully the last time that I have to kick the can down the road. In the meantime, I want to thank you, and I will see you tomorrow, just not at 6 p.m. This has been another episode of the ohmTown Daily News Show. Bye-bye.